Hello everybody. So let's go ahead and put our album together. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cover the outside of our album. And I've done part of that for you already, just to kind of show you, and it's pretty basic. So we're going to take our back piece, which was 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. You're going to put score tape all the way around, and then a few going vertical on there to hold that down. Then you have your two spine pieces, which we had you trim up to 2 1/4 inches wide by 8 1/4 inches long. And again, we're going to go ahead and put score tape around them, put one down the middle, and go ahead and attach those. And then we have our two front pieces. Now make sure when you're putting your front pieces on that you're paying attention that you're putting them on the correct side. So the one with the ring is going to go on the right side, and the one with the coffee cup is going to go on the left side. So what I want you to do for this one is we put score tape all the way around, one down the middle, and then on the side that's going to be to the opening, you want to put a couple extra score tapes on there. So I've already adhered this one, so I just wanted to show you how that goes. And these are 4 by 8 1/4. So let's go ahead and put that one down. And you also want to make sure that when you put it down, that you're putting it the right way, because you wouldn't want those not to match up. That would be kind of a disaster. So, and I always like to just add that extra score tape on this closure piece, so it helps it just in case there's some pull on it, or something to that effect. So remember, I'm going to put glue around here so it will give me the ability to lay it down and maneuver it if needed. Okay, so kind of move this here, and I'm just going to put this on here. And what did I just do? Okay, I'm like, cannot be putting that pin to the glue in a not very good place, because that would be not the best to lose. Oh my gosh, excuse my reach there. Hello. Got a good burnish. Now, before we can do the inside, we have got to add our closure and another little embellishment that we're going to put on here. So you see, I've already put this one side on, and I'm going to show you how we do that. Now, the actual closure does not come with brads, so I just used brads out of my stash to put on here, but you'll need 4 brads for that. So before I put that on, I also want to talk to you about what I did. I'm going to set this aside for just a minute. For the embellishment that we're going to use for this, and this was the Tim Holtz plates that we had. So what I wanted to show you is that this was a piece that we had left over. We had used pieces that were here for the sides, for here and for here. We cut those out and then trimmed it to 2 1/4 inches. And then I have this piece here left. And right here was, I don't even know what this word is, but I don't know. And so what I did, and what I want to show you what to do, is you're going to take your round plate, lay it on over that, or anything that you want to use. It doesn't have to be this one, but that's what I chose to use. And then you're going to go ahead and draw around the outside, not in here, the outside of that plate. Once you draw on the outside of that plate, you're going to cut out the outside of that plate. And then you're going to maneuver it on your piece. And what your goal is to have no paper showing over, but you want to kind of encompass those little holes that are there. And that just kind of helps it put in place. So I just glued that with regular glue, my art glitter glue, put that down, and I let that set while I was prepping my other stuff. So that's how we made that. So again, I use this piece. That doesn't mean you have lots of scraps. You can use whatever you want. You could use these, this right here would be great. Isn't that cool? The little starburst there. You could use that. And again, you would just go ahead and trace around the outside of that and then cut that. So I just wanted to let you know about that because I think that was important to understand how we do that. So we have two things to put on, and I have some clips right here. I don't know what you call them. These clips to kind of help us hold it in place. I guess if I turned it the right side, that would really help to kind of explain to you what we're going to do. So to put on the closure, now I already put this one side on, but they're both exactly the same size. So you're going to go ahead and set this on here. Close it. Sorry about that, you guys. I know my hand's in the way. And sorry, I have to get it closed and straight. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your pencil and you're going to pencil mark right where that goes. And then you want it even with the other side. Okay. And it's hard for me to see that one and that one. You can kind of see, I know it's going to be really hard to see, but they are lined up really across from my other ones. So now on this one, I'm going to take my little baby, I moved my table, I moved everything, so sorry about that. I have an 1/8 inch punch, and I'm going to take that 1/8 inch punch and I'm going to punch right, and it does go through here, believe it or not. If you don't have this, I'll show you the other option we're going to use in a minute. When you get that, I have two, for the closure you need four brads, 2 for each side. And again, I just used some brads that I had. And those brads are going to get stuck inside here, and we're going to put them through the hole. And you have to do this before you put your inside pieces on, or it will not work. And you just got to make sure that they're closed. Excuse my head for a minute, I got to get it in there. Okay. So they're in there. Now we're going to open it up, and I have, this is my Cricut paddle, and I'm going to open up these brads, and I'm going to squish them down, and they need to be squished down like vertical, not horizontal, because they will maybe go over the piece that we're going to put down to cover this up. So I want to make sure it's turned. Give those a good press. Now before we do anything else, let's just make sure that it's going to work. And we're going to have a little bit of a hard time there because we got to get it over the brad there. We just want to make sure that it works and closes, and it does. Okay, so once you do that, and I've got to pull that brad down just a little tighter, and that's important because you don't want it loose. Okay, here's my little pokey tool here. You just have to lift it up over that brad. If you have a hard time, you may have to like, okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take some EK 6000, and I am going to put glue around here because I really need that to set down in there. And I'm going to also take glue and put over, and I know this is super hard to see, I'm going to put over my tabs of my brad. Set that out of the way. And try not to, I'm going to try to put, this one is looser and I don't know why. I'm going to try to put some glue down underneath it too. Don't get this glue all over me. I'm going to get it down underneath. my mechanism there. And I am going to use the clip to go in there. Okay. That brad just does not want to stick. Okay. So then we're going to take our embellishment that we made, and it's just going to go on the front. And again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our pencil, and wherever you want to put it, and we are going to mark our 2 holes. Now, my hole punch will not fit in there, so I have just a little pointy stick, and I'm sure you guys all have them. And I am just going to kind of turn it a little bit, and it will push through. Okay, and then once again, it takes 2 brads, and the Tim Holtz plates came with brads, and you can. My hands are sticky from that glue. Stick that in there. Stick that in there. Now, again, these don't matter how they go because you will have plenty of stuff to cover this one up. So I'm just holding the brad tight down there so it will get tight. This one just does not want to get tight, so I'm going to take this brad off here, pull it out of there, and try to stick it down in there one more time to see if I can get it in there tighter. You want that brad on there pretty dang tight so it's not moving around. And I think that's better. I'm going to take the second one out as well and hold it down. And I'm pushing down on the brad here, you guys holding on to it, and whoops, and then opening that back up, because it's important that you want it tight. You want it tight. That's better. That is better. This one just does not want to go tight. So let's do this. I have got EK 6000 all over me. I am going to put some EK 6000 underneath there to help hold that. I'm going to take that back. Put my brad back in there. Sorry, you guys. You know, the other side went on like clockwork. No problem at all. So when I'm on camera live, of course, we are struggling. Okay, so I'm going to hold that in place. And I'm just squishing it with the bottom of this paddle. You guys have put brads on before, so this is no different. This is no different. Okay. We're going to let that set in place with it, and we're not going to mess with it, so it will set. Okay, we'll just leave that. Okay. So isn't that cool? Look at that. Sweet. So now what we're going to do is we are going to take our mechanism, that our lovely waterfall that we created, and we're all done with that. We have went ahead and we put our score tape all the way around, a couple down the middle, and we're going to go ahead and adhere it to our back panel. So you want to center it, and really it's about 1 1/8 on each side. And so I just took my ruler, maybe, I'm not sure what I did with my ruler, and measured in from my crease there's a right here, the indentation, measured over 1 1/8, and I drew a line, and you can see that pencil line right on there. So when I go to put this on, I'm going to line it up just over that line so it doesn't show. I'm just going to center it on there. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove all the score tape on this one. Okay. I love this waterfall. The very first thing when I saw this paper, I knew the coffee grinder had to be my waterfall. Just had to be. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and put the glue over that. So I will be able to maneuver it. And remember, you want to glue in the non-taped places. And you just want to, and again, I'm going just over that line so you won't be able to see it. And then centering it from top to bottom. It's about 1/4 inch from the top and bottom. Let me put the lid back on my glue. I am going to open this up, and remember, we need to open them one at a time. I'm actually going to burnish each time I do that. And that will help stick down my waterfall. Okay, that's our last page. On our last page, we're just going to burnish down. And I don't have a piece of paper right in here, so that will be something that we will have to, when we come back to the last session, which I'll show you all my decorations, we'll need to come back and I'll need to put a piece on there. Okay, so there's that. Now, and we're also in that last session, I will show you what we're going to do for these pieces right here and in between our binding strips. So, okay, so this is down here, and I forgot to put, I was going to put some glue on these, just so they would hopefully stay down. We may put score tape over that as well. Okay, now let's talk about our binding strips. So remember, we only had to make 2 binding strips, and they had that wide 1-inch width gusset in them. Way different than what we normally do, but it has 1 inch. So go ahead and you want to put score tape down the middle of those. You want to just nick off the edges just a little bit, not a lot. And we're going to place these one on each side. Now here's what's important. The one on the right side, you're going to measure in 1/2 inch. So I am measuring 1/2 inch in from, you can see right here where my 2 pieces went together. So I measured 1/2 inch in and I drew a line. This one, we are measuring 1 inch in. So this was 1/2 inch, this was 1 inch. So I put my ruler down and I measured 1 inch. And that's really important because your pages are going to go like this. They're going to overlap. So this one is going to be at 1/2 inch and this one is going to be at 1 inch. Press these down here. Okay. So let's go ahead, and you're going to really, it's about 1/4 inch from the bottom. So I am going to take my score tape off. And I'm going to put glue on there because I want to be able to maneuver this in case I lay it down wrong. And then put glue, like I use 3/8 inch tape, and there's a little space in the middle that doesn't have any tape, so go ahead and put glue over that. And again, I've drawn my line. It is at a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to, I've got my ruler down here and I'm using it, it's up against my waterfall, and so I'm going to make this the same, and so I'm putting it on right just a hair over that line, just a hair, and you can, you know, make sure you feel it straight. Okay, burnish that down really well. Okay, cool. Now over here, remember this was 1 inch over, this was 1 inch. This was 1 inch from here, and you can see my line that I drew. And again, we've trimmed off each of the corners. Pull off our score tape. And I'm going to go ahead and put glue on my tape and glue down that middle that didn't have any tape. I'm going to put this back on my lid. I did that with one hand. Super duper. Okay, so I'm going to line this back up. My ruler down at the bottom. That just kind of, you don't have to, that just kind of helps you keep everything in alignment. And then this one is going to be put down right, and again, just a hair over that line, just a hair. Okay. Okay, so now our gussets are in. Look at that. You got one that's a 1/2 inch and then 1 inch. And that way, again, that when you close that, that's going to let that things overlap. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's continue to let this dry, and we are going to go ahead and put our pages in. So pages are super simple, just like we've done it all along. And you want to make sure that you have your right side pages and then you have your left side pages, and that's really important. And so I'm going to start with my right side. We are going to take our right side front, and we're not going to put that on yet, so we're just going to set that aside. Now we have 4 pages, so on pages 1 and 3 on both sides, you're going to put just a 3/8 inch score tape down on the side that's going to attach. So that's going to be to the right side of this one. So that's 1 and 3. And then on 2, you're going to do this. You're going to go all the way around and 1 down the middle. And on 4, don't do that because 4 is an open pocket, and we've got them on those. We had scored those, and we have the tabs that are flipped over, so you're going to put your tape on there. And then we were also going to put a piece of tape on here, but for right now, just leave that. Okay, so let's go ahead and put on page 1. So I'm on the right side, page 1, and that goes on the top one. Okay, so here's my right. I'm going to lay those flat. 1 goes on the very first one. And remember, there's a 1/2 inch. There's a line right on that. Let's see if you can see that. Right. So this is 1 inch wide, and we're going to put our pages on right down to that 1/2 inch, right to that line. Okay. So let me take my pokey tool, and I'm going to take that off. And I am going to put my glue on there because I want to make sure I can get it on there. Let me see if I can do this again. This is for my sister-in-law, Becky. Voila! Okay. And I'm going to, I need to get a piece of white paper. Sorry, folks. It's just easier when you have a piece of white paper there so that you can see that. So I'm going to lay that on, and I am right to that 1/2 inch. Right, that score line, that's what makes it really nice. Just going to lay that down. Let's take a peek. Looks good. Looks good. You can open up your stuff. Give that a good burnish. Turn it over. Give it a good burnish. Okay. Let's take page 3. Page 3. Again, on page 3, we have just our 3/8 inch tape, and it's going to be to the right because that's where it's going to go on here. Put that in here. My pokey tool. Okay. This was such a fun album to make, you guys. It's one of my favorites. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to lay that one down. Make sure your pages are right side, going the right way, you guys. That's always devastating if you put them in wrong. Okay, so just barely put it down there, and what I want you to do is lay the other page over it. It looks good. Open it the other way. It looks great. So after you do that, then go ahead and give it a good burnish. Okay, look at that. Okay. Now let's go ahead and put page 2 on. Now page 2 has all the way around and down the middle. And then this one we're going to line up on the outside first before we attach it down here, because if we want it to match out here. Okay. I really, I'll be going on vacation soon and taking a break. And so I'm hoping to maybe figure out how to make some fun, interactive, lots of, we made a couple fold out ones and things like that. I'm kind of thinking on some things. I'm going to go down the middle, go on those empty spaces. That's important. Scribble, scribble, scribble. This is important because otherwise, if you don't put glue all over, you'll have a hard time. Once you put it down, you're like stuck. Okay, so I'm going to line these up. Sorry if I'm trying not to get my head in the way, but this is hard without doing a lot of leaning over there. This is a pocket right here. Okay, you want to make sure your pieces are, you're going to have to go this way because we have our hardware on there. Get that. Isn't that cool? Ta-da! Awesome. Okay, now on page 4, this is important because page 4 is a pocket, so we do not want to close this on the top right because that's where our extra piece is going to go. So what we need to do with this one is at first we are going to just lift off on the inside piece. So I'm turning it over so it's right here. I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to kind of do that with it. And that. And I'm going to take our 3/8" tape and I'm going to put 3/8" tape along that side. And you have to do that. You have to lift your other pieces up. Otherwise, you're going to have, you're not going to have your stuff in the right place there. Okay, let me get that out of the way. Burn this. I'm going to need to burnish this down a little bit. You always want to burnish it down so it goes on there good. Okay, so let's go ahead and take our tape off. Take our tape off. And we are going to glue. And I hope, and I don't know, I need my piece of acrylic. And I hope it's in my drawer right here. Here it is. Well used. Okay, so let's go ahead and again we're going to measure. Go to the outside corners and make sure that you don't get the. There's a gusset right there, so don't get the gusset. Down. Take your lovely. That I have 2 of them in here, I believe. Put that in there. Okay. Let's get our glue closed. Maybe. I'm going to burnish that down really good right there, right down on the side, right down here. You want to make sure it's really good on the ends there. Perfect. Cool. Look at that. Okay, so we have our pages in there. All right. So now after the pages are in, you want to give that where you have that score, just give it a little bend because that's what makes your pages lay really nice. And they're already scored, so it goes really nice. Okay. Let's move on to the other side. And again, I'm going to be working on page 1. And page 1 on the left side, our tape is right down here because that's what's going to adhere to your book. Okay? That's important. If you have your tape on the wrong one, it's going to be a mess. I'm going to glue that. And I'm going to go right up to that score line that I did. That's what I really, really like about this binding method, is it gives you that line to grab. Now remember, these pages are the same on each side. Open that up. Do that. Okay, now we're going to do page 3. This is page 3. Our score tape is here because that's going to adhere down here. So your score tape is to the left. We're doing the left side. The score tape goes on the left. That's going to go down on here. Okay. That's that. Put some glue on there. And this one, again, remember, just put it down there and give it a gentle push. Make sure this page comes over great. It does. And then you want to go and close it like this and make sure that, or like that, and that works really good. So we can just go mosey that right down there. Okay. Let's go ahead while we have this one open. Let's go ahead and put page 4 on the left. So page 4, again, remember, is the pocket. We've already got the tape, the 3/8" tape on our flaps, and we need to do that little trick. I'm going to make a little L and an upside down L, if I can get it. Okay, remember that's the even pages are going to be on that tape's going to be on the right there. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to take my 3/8" tape and I have to go down the side. This one. And I know I flip and flop my papers, but I'm hoping this makes sense when you're doing it. Burnish this down. Okay, so this is page 4, and my tape is going to go, again, because it's going to go leg on here. So this is a pocket, so we have it on our flaps and then down here. So we're going to get it off of our flaps. Put glue on there, so you'll be able to maneuver it. That's a big tip, you guys. If anybody's new that's watching me, this is putting the glue on your tape really helps you. It gives you time. It gives you time. Okay, so again, I'm going to come here to the outside and match my pieces up. Make sure they're matched up there. I'm going to stick in my lovely acetate that's all full of messy glue that's been dry, but that's why you have it. So I'm going to put that in there. After that's in there, then you can really burnish down. And up here, the corners, that's important that they get on there really good. Okay. Sweet. Then I have page 2 to put on. I love this page. Love it. Love that. Okay, so my tape is all the way around on this one because it's not a pocket, and then one down the middle. You don't have to make that page 3 and 4 a pocket, but we had extra paper, and we can't let our paper just sit there. So I give you some extra space. This album will hold quite a few pictures. You know, again, your waterfall itself will hold a lot because we have 7 flaps. So I think you can probably put, I don't know, 13 or 14 pictures in there. There's quite a bit just alone in that. And then we have lots of flips and flaps that you can put pictures on. Okay. So I put my glue on my tape. Glued inside there. One-handed. Okay, make sure your page is the right side up. And again, I'm going to go to the outside. I'm going to line it up to the outside first. Burnish that down well. Okay, get that out of the way for a minute. And again, now you can do that little bending where your score is, and it's easy to do because you already have it in place there. And then again, that makes your book lay flat. So here's what, before we go on, I want to show you what you're going to do with your book. So this is the 1/2 inch side, this is the inch side. So of course, this one's going to go in first, then this one, then this one, then this one, and then it will close up. That is why we need to make sure that they were different on different spaces, because you need to have that. Okay. All right. So let's check out, how's my stuff going right here? Okay, good. That is stuck. That is stuck really good. That's what you want to do. So it may take E6000. You can use oh shoot, a hot glue gun, but you want to make sure that's not going to move because we need to be able to close that. Okay. Isn't that slick? That is so cool. Love it. All right, so because that is set now that we've done all that stuff, we can now put our insides in. So what I want to make sure you have, we have our right side here, and I've already got my tape on the right, again, all the way around and down the middle. And let's just make sure that that's going to go in place there. Yep, and it's going to cover up that little, our brads. So these we're putting on last because we needed to make sure we had our closures on. If you don't want to use that closure, you could use ribbon underneath there. You can use some different things. But I've been dying to try that, and the latch, and that's really cool. Okay, make sure you scribble in those empty spaces. And I should have put score tape over these, and I'm going to, you guys, sorry. I should have put a piece of score tape over these brads. And we already have score tape for positive over here, so I'm just going to leave that. I'm just going to leave that down here. Get that out of the way. Get that out of the way. Make sure you have the right one, because that would be a disaster. And we're just going to go ahead and put that down. And make sure you're covering up your ends of your brads, because that's really important that you're doing that. Okay, you have to kind of lift this up because you cannot, because you have the stuff on here, it doesn't, it kind of makes it harder to press it down. So get that done. Okay, now I'm going to do the other side. And we don't have any brads in here, so we're good. So where's this one? Here's this one. And again, we've got our score tape on it already, and that's just going to go right down there. Sweet. This is a lot of fun. I love this paper. Oh my gosh. Love, love, love this paper. Okay, we are going to glue our score tape down the middle. And there we go. I'm just going to put this down there. Again, make sure you're covering your brad, things that are holding your closure on there. This one you can burnish on a little bit better because there's no special plate on there. Okay, so let's, I have a mess here. Okay, so remember, your right side goes first. So the right side goes down, then the left. The right, and then the left, and then you can close it up, and you can spin your closure on there to close it. And there is your album. Isn't that cool? Okay, so now what I want to tell you is we're going to end this video here in just a moment, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to we're going to finish our decorating and that type of thing. Let's go ahead and put in, we already did our mats. These were our mats for 4. And you don't put those in if your glue is wet, because you would not want to ever chance those getting stuck. So I think we're good. I'm just going to put those in there. So again, this holds quite a few pictures for, well, there's no, just FYI, there's no pocket in this one, so that's why I can't find it. Silly. Okay. I'm like, where did I close it? And these are cool because these have the round tabs on there, so when you give this as a gift, people are like, oh, what is this? And they'll pull it out, and there will be place for photos there. So isn't that cool? Okay, So what we're going to do in our last session is we're going to come in here and we're going to use paper to cover up these little pieces here and in between here, you know how we always do that. And what I want to show you is that the paper I'm going to use for that is the other piece of the front paper. So I trimmed this down to 8 1/4, so I started from the top and I measured it 8 1/4 and I left it in one big piece. The reason I didn't pre-cut these is because if you by chance put your gusset over a little bit more than I did and whatever, these may be a different size of the pieces that we're going to cover. And so just I want to make sure that gets measured. You measure it, I measure it, and whatever yours is going to have, you will use. And so we'll cut those one at a time as we do that. And then I also want you to take, so we're going to do that. We also have a few pieces that we're going to finish up. I think we have like a couple spaces in here that we need to get some. You need to go grab some of your paper that will fill out for these pieces here. So there's just a few things that we're going to go ahead and take care of. We have on both sides of these, we have this. So, and then we'll have some lace. We have some flat back pearls that we're going to put on, and then we have a few more embellishments that we're going to put on. So that will be in the very last one, which will be coming up right after this one. I also want you to take Okay, this is our last stop for our beautiful album, and we are going to put our strips in between our gussets, and then I'm going to show you how I decorated it, and we are all finished. So as I told you before, this is the paper that we used to go in between, and I started from the right side over, and what you want to do is measure your spaces that you have here for your gussets. And normally we have 1/2 inch gussets and we cut 3/8 inch strips. But because we've got different widths because of the things that we did differently, we need to measure. So this one over here really should be about 1 inch. And so you'd want to cut this about 3/4 of an inch to lay in there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just lay my strips in there. And this was the cover page, so there's nothing on the back. This was really, I love using the cover page, and this was a really fun piece actually, how it was. Remember, we're going to smooth this one with our finger because we want to hold it in place at the same time. Okay. And then this is an inch gusset, so you'd want to cut a 3/4 inch piece. You don't want to make this one too wide, because if you do, it'll catch, and then that will cause problems with your pages turning. So this gusset that's 1 inch, absolutely we know it's 1 inch because we created it that way. We have a 3/4 inch piece, and we're just going to center it in there, and we're going to line it up at the top with that other piece. Center it in there. Again, use your finger to press that down. Okay, now on the right side, this was a 1/2 inch, remember? Okay, so on that one, we're going to cut 1/4 inch. Again, I want to thank my mom for giving me the great idea about cutting my strips and then using that little bit of sticky tape up there, or sticky roller, so that I could get them made and so they don't get them out of order. That's really kind of nice. You can see where the sticky tape is up at the top there. You really should be using repositionable. I don't have any, so I don't want to leave them there too long. Okay, so then the next piece is in the sides of our waterfall. Again, I've been cutting from this side as each increment, so they kind of all go together. So this is about 1 inch and 1/8, so I cut this 7/8 of an inch. And you know, this is what I like to see, because these two will line up. I like to try to make everything as fun and matching and unique as we can. Again, we're going to match the top, and you want to match all your pieces along down there. And again, you don't want to get this too close to that line, because if you do, when you go to close your album, it doesn't close well. Okay, so let's again do that with our finger. So the other side over here too is the same thing. So it's about 1 inch and 1/8. So I cut it 7/8 of an inch. And I'm just going to put that one down, center it in that little space. Use our finger to press it down. I love this paper. Okay, this was 1 inch. Over here was a 1/2 inch. This is 1 inch. So I cut 3/4 of an inch. Okay, lay that down. You're going to match these pieces up right down in here too. The graphics. With my finger. This is our inch. We know that for a fact. So we're going to go to 3/4 of an inch. Who'd ever think we made a gusset 1 inch wide? Never thought that would happen, but it worked perfectly. Again, use your finger to press that down there. And then our last piece, this was a 1/2 inch. So we are going to do 1/4, because again, these are important that you don't get into the scoring where you've scored it, because again, it will catch and you don't want that to happen. Okay. Wowzer, wowzer. Okay. Wow. That is so cool, you guys. Okay, so let me get my pin in my glue. Let me close this appropriately. Remember, right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand. Close it up. There you go. Look at that. Ta-da! Okay, so let's talk about how I decorated it. Now, I only used a small piece of the burlap, and you can use it in many more places. You could actually do exactly what I did here, and I'm going to tell you about that in a minute, and put it right here as well. But I want to show you what I do with the burlap, because this is really very cute, and again, we can put it in a few more places. So we had already put this decorative piece on. We already did our closure. You know, it should be nice and dry, and it should be workable now, not a problem. But with this burlap, what I did, let me just move this out of the way, and hopefully these scissors will cut. These are not the scissors I used, but I cut a, let me cut it this way. I just cut a chunk of the burlap, and of course it's going to ravel. And so what you want to do is, because I wanted it to ravel, see that out there? And so I took a couple pieces off, and I cut about kind of how big as I wanted it. And I wanted it to be raveled all around, so I pulled out my pieces. And then I really did, this happen to me, and I trimmed this one up a little bit. And it made a patch. Isn't that cool? We have another patch there. We can put this patch right up here. You want to use your art glitter glue and glue really well along each side, because that glue is going to keep them in place, and it's not going to continue to ravel. It's pretty important. And then I'm going to, whoa, I don't want to drop it on my paper. Then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in the middle. And then you're just going to stick it down and press it down good. And that's important, to press it down good. Let that art glitter glue take a hold. And you know what I found, you guys? This is kind of a tip. This is a strip from our score tape, and it doesn't stick. So you can kind of help use that to lay that down. And when that dries, it's going to be, it's not going to ravel anymore. Look at that. So again, we've got our 2 patches on here. You can put more patches on if you want. You truly could take your piece and do that same thing on the sides if you wanted to. I didn't want quite that much on there. The burlap just reminds me of the coffee because the coffee beans come in burlap bags. Okay, so that will be fine. Let's talk about how I decorated it now. So we put those burlap pieces on there, and I think that adds just the right touch for it. We're going to open this up, and I'm going to start over here on the left side. So all those goodies that I had you cut out, and you mounted them on black cardstock. So every time I see a goodie, I'll tell you it was one from that goodie pack. So here's one of the goodie packs. So on both sides of your album, here and here, you'll take these smaller ones. And what we've done is we've put score tape on one side and the bottom. And those are going to go then right on here against this edge and against this edge. So this is the edge that has tape on it, this one and this one. And that is so that you can slip a photo in there. Not a 4x6 because this is only 4 inches, but you'll be able to trim a photo and put one down there. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that so it just makes an L. And we're just going to put that to the edge. It stuck me into the edge. My dog is barking, so sorry, you guys. Okay, so you'll see that technique on some of the goodies that we had. So this is a goodie and this is a goodie. We've taped them here and here so that you can slip a photo right here and right there. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and open up this side here. And this is one of those pieces that we had to fill in with a scrap. So I just had a little scrap that I filled in. Here, these are all from my goodie page. Here's my long tag. And remember I told you I had some of these life cards, or I can't remember what they're called. But I put some journaling in the back. This is ribbon I had in my stash. And this is what I wanted to show you. Look at that. It's brown polka dot, light brown with dark polka dots. It is like absolutely perfect. I just kind of laughed because that was absolutely the best for it. I also then I hot glued these ribbons on there, but I have a stapler that has different colors in it, and so I stapled them on there. Now this is a long tag, and actually when I saw these on the goodie page, that's what made me think make this page because of that. So that long one goes in there, and then here's a tag, and again I put some journaling on the back, and here's another one from our goodie page, and again these are just mounted on black paper. I have then also, I used about a yard. You'll need a little bit more than a yard, so get 2 yards of lace. And this is the Rochelle lace, and it's so pretty. So I just have a little bit left, you guys. So I put the lace here and here, and I did use a hot glue gun, and it is kind of a pain in the patooties, but it adheres faster, and I just kind of like that. So there is that on there, and then these just go right in here. This page right here, this is my little flap. Here are our flat back pearls. Isn't that gorgeous? There's some flat back pearls right there. So this is going to lift up. That is our photo mat. I'm going to come down here. And I have, when I get done showing all this, I'll show you what paper I have left. I went and made almost as many, well, I made all the 4x6 photo mats that I could. So I cut my decorative paper, whatever I had left that would make it, I made it into 4x6, and I have probably maybe 6 or 8 of them that I had enough paper to do that. So I just made that. I did not mount it with white in the back because it's going to continue to make it thicker. So I just did that, and then people can put their 4x6 photo. I cut my black cardstock 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, my decorative paper 4x6. That allows them to mount their 4x6 photo on there. Again, this is on page 1 of the left side. We have our lace here. And I also glue down the sides of my lace here as well, so it just doesn't get in the way. Down here, and I'm sorry I have to move this a little bit. Down here we had 2 other pieces that we had to just take from our stash. And so I just took from our stash to put these in there. And then again, this just just measure what you need in here. I think this is 1/4 of an inch by 4, and this is I think 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 that was down here. This page right here, we opened it up. You could, there is enough lace if you wanted to put, there's enough lace, well, no, there's not. There's not enough lace to put this on both sides, so I did not do that. You could get 2.5 yards, and then that would take care of that, or 3 yards. Again, here is this is a photo mat, and then this is one of the 4x6 photo mats that I had you just cut strictly from that page. I did not mat it. You sure can, but what I did is that, you know, people could journal on here. They could put a little photo on there, so that's kind of up to you whether you want to mat it or not, but I chose not to at this time. Okay. Here's another one of those little good things from our goodie page, and again, it's glued, or excuse me, it's taped here and here. So this is the outside of our page, so here and here, so you would be able to slip a photo right in there. We open this up. This, no, that was already there. So here, this was all taken care of. Here's 2 more photo mats. This is what I did with the extra paper. This was already done for us. So on this page right here, this right here has lace in both places. Isn't that pretty? This is a 5x7, so this piece of paper is cut 5x7, but my black paper is cut 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. So you could put a 5x7 photo there, or if the recipient wants, they can put, you know, 2 smaller photos in there or whatever they wanted to do. Again, I didn't put any white on there. You sure could. And that goes, because remember, this pocket goes all the way down. That's the beauty of that. These are 2, again, of our mats, or our cards that we cut out. Again, I did not mat them, but you sure could. Again, on these flip down pages, we have our flat back pearls. Okay, let us move on to the other side. Again, we already talked about this. This was from our goodie page. That makes it so you can flip a photo in there. Open that up. This was a piece that we had to add, that one less finishing piece. These again are from our goodie page. These are the tags I had you cut out. Again, I had that fun, I got this ribbon probably 6, 7, 8 years ago. It's hard to say, but that was funny that matched. So they're stapled together, and again, I've got journaling on the back. And again, that goes in the long one, and then these go into the 2 short ones. This page right here, here's our flat back pearls, because this is the flip. There's the flat back pearls. Again, I'm going to have to really move this one up, because here we get our big page comes down. Down here was our 2 pieces that we had to add from our scraps. Again, we added the lace here. 2 more photo mats. Open this up, and this was already done. I have a photo mat. This is from our goodie page, and then this was just one of the mats we cut from that, out of those 6 from there. This is from our goodie page. It's also adhered here and here, so you can put your photo right in there. This is just so cute. I just love this. And then here are 2 more 4x6 photo mats right here. I think I either made 6 or 8, folks, in the 4x6. Whatever paper you have left, then you can just go ahead and do that. And then, of course, this was a pullout that we already had done. Whoops, that just flipped right out. So here again, here's one of our flips. So we have our flat back pearls. We open this up. I put lace right here, that Rochelle lace. It's so gorgeous. And then here's another 5x7. So when you're going to go make your photo mats, make your 5x7 photo mats. Make 2 of them. You have paper to do it. Make 2 of them. Make 2 5x7 mats, and then after that, make as many 4x6 mats that you can. And then if you need any more photo mats after that, just make them all different random sizes. But do your 5x7s first, because you do have 2 pieces of paper in there that's going to allow you to do that. And then here's our two more of those cards. And then, of course, we had already done our waterfall. The only thing that I did to the waterfall is I totally forgot in the moment to put this piece on. So this was a 6 by 3.5 piece, and that actually was the piece that we had left over from all of this, so it was a perfect match. So you should be able to find that in your stash. If you don't, you can just use something else. There you go. And then I made 2 smaller mats. I don't know, they're 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 or something like that. So just that will fit in here, so that just pops right in there. Okay. And then again, we go right, left, right, left, and then we just close it right back up. And look at that, that's dry, and it's not going to ravel. Is that not the coolest thing? That burlap is really, really fun. There you go. Okay, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this album. Again, it was my first gatefold. I hope you liked it. It would be fun to put more pages on it. And before I forget, I wanted to show you. Now, I did throw away the little scraps, you know, that were, excuse my reach, that were like some smaller scraps like this. But here's what I wanted to let you know. This is what I had left. Now, mind you, these are from the front pages, but then this is what I have left. Now, you can make these into photo mats and put them in there. I'm not really sure, but you can sure do that. And it's always nice to have not much paper left when you get done, because it's kind of like my fabric. I keep my extra fabric and then I don't use it. So there you go. Again, all the products are at J&S Hobbies and Crafts. Thank you so much. I so enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite albums so far, and enjoy it. And again, hope you love it. So I'll see you real soon. Again, I'm taking a little bit of a breather as I'm going on vacation, and we'll see what my next album brings you. Enjoy.